Oh, nuts. I left my clacker at home. I actually have a clackboard now. It's kind of horrible. Hi, good morning. Welcome to Rovers. Rovers is a World of Dungeons turbo hack that emulates a certain very peripatetic classic role-playing game of space opera. I have a wonderful cast here today, and we're going to get right into it with Karajan. So we have Anders, Ben, Bethany, and Curtis, and we're going to just take off. So the basic way that Karajan works is you assign your abilities, you decide how many turns you want to take, and then you pick some skills, and then we'll figure out some of the stuff you might have at the end. Rovers is a World of Dungeons hack. It rolls, everything is a 2d6 roll plus an ability, and then we'll interpret the results. And after this, after we finish Karajan, we'll do a little questionnaire to decide on the empire that we are in. So cool. You start with a default of 1 term, which gives you 10 hit points and 2 skills. If you want to have more terms, that's great. You can take as many as you want, up to 4, I guess. But every time you do, you have to take one of the scars that will reduce your abilities. So with that said, I'm going to get a little bit out of the way and let everybody sort of figure out what they want. Actually, one last quick thing. There's a difference between the background and the general skills. You choose one of those backgrounds, military, merchant, or scout, and you have to choose at least one of those skills. You can choose more from you can choose both from your own background, but you can only choose one skill total from a different background. The general skills anybody can take.
Okay.
Kind of like Wanderer.
I think I'm going to be a merchant.
I think I'll go with a scout roll with survival.
I'm thinking I'll take I'll take a scout. Actually, we don't have a merchant yet, so I'll take.
I think Curtis is.
We have a merchant. We don't have a military, I don't think. But.
Okay.
So we get 1 background skill and 1 general skill, or 2 background skills and 1 general skill, or
you
2 total of all?
You get 2 total, and 1 has to be from your background.
Okay. Cool. And someone already has survival?
I do, yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll take Jack of all trades, and then I'll take pilot or tech. I'll do pilot, I think. Jack of all trades, that seems like a very generalist thing. Cool, I'll do that.
So I'll go ahead and take military, and so I'll go commando and medic, so we have someone who can patch us up. And I think I'll go ahead and take another background, and I'll take another term as do I have to do anything to move from military to merchant for my next term, or just state that I do that?
You only ever have to take one skill from your background, but you can only ever take one skill from another background. So whatever your original background is, that's fine. You can just grab another skill from a different background, and that's totally fine.
Cool. So I can grab connections from merchant, but I can't grab any of the other background skills if I decide to push on to a third term.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you could take your other background skill, from your background.
My other one, yeah, but
That's
I
right.
don't think I want to. And I will go ahead and take Lucky for my other skill. So
And I forgot to mention it, your abilities add up to 1 to start. Scars will push that down, and the improvement skill will push them back up.
So it adds up to 1. And then
Yep. And then Scars will push that back down.
and so effectively and do we check any of the XP boxes or anything right now?
If you took an extra turn, then fill up the XP through that. Otherwise, everybody just gets that 1 to start with.
Can you remind me how we get our starting cred?
Sure. If so, this is a good point to talk about mustering out. Once you've done picking your skills, you can choose one of the benefits from your mustering out list. If you ever have more than 1 term, you can take another one. So that means even if you get one through the course of normal advancement. Yeah. So if you want credits, you can choose that as one of your mustering out, and then you get 1 credit. 1 credit is a significant amount of money. It's kind of variable. You know, it's very much being a freebooting pirate type, so it can be a lot or a little depending on what you're buying and when.
So I've marked one of the creds boxes for mustering out. So would that put my starting creds at 1?
That is correct. There is a reason why you are willing to do crazy illegal jobs.
If I choose followers for mustering out, should I pick an expert or grunts now?
If you want to wait until we're just about ready to begin, but probably that's the thing we'll want to know before we start play, just because there's logistics.
I'm going to go with the grunts.
Nice.
I'm going to take some creds, and I'm going to take Rovers Guild membership.
Nice. Nice. Cool. So I guess, yeah.
I love the Traveler Society. It's such a beautiful idea.
Yeah, I didn't so much steal as just walk in full view of the video cameras and take stuff. Cool. At the very bottom, you'll see there's all that load stuff. This works pretty much like Blades. I don't require you to pick out what you have. You pick a load when you're getting ready to do a job, and then you can fill that in as you go. There are a couple things like the special weapon or vac suit where you'll notice that you can not click on the right-hand side of the box because those are actually double load. So when you take one, you just click the left box and it'll fill in both. I think rifles that way too because it's big. And there are a couple things that are no load. So cool. So as soon as folks have a name, I guess we can go around and like introduce our characters a bit.
I like Sunny to do something for mastering out. Also a name. A name would be good. Oh, there's a names list. Cool.
Where's names list? Am I?
Last page of the PDF.
Yeah.
Oh, PDF. Looking at that. No, clearly do not have all the things open. So.
Oh, sorry, I keep forgetting to turn off my mic and then like moving stuff around, and I'm sure it's making all kinds of noises. Sorry about that.
It hasn't been too bad. Oh man, nobody took a starship.
Well, one of you has Rovers Guild though, so you'll be able to get away.
Probably use one of those, couldn't we?
I
haven't mustered out yet. I can take a starship if we need one.
I can provide it. It's not a big thing. I was actually almost going to tell people don't choose one because then we'd have to go through the starship rules, which are a little complicated.
Got it. Okay, cool. So don't. In that case,
If things go south, good luck, y'all. I paid my dues.
we can always steal one.
There we go. That's the true spirit of things.
Yeah. It's not a space game until you steal a starship, right?
I thought my Scum and Villainy game wasn't until 1 o'clock.
That's, that's what you do for transportation in any game, right? You just steal something.
This is fair.
Maybe that's just me.
Fairly on point with my games this weekend, though, so you know. Two games prior to this, my character is responsible for stealing an average of 1.5 vehicles personally per game.
Excellent.
I played Alas for the Awful Sea last night and nearly blew up a rowboat with my ship's cannons, but I decided to let the guy off.
That's good.
It was my brother's lover. It was very complicated.
Yeah. You don't want to get involved, like, in the middle of that by killing it. No.
You have a character name yet, Bethany?
Oh, right. I kind of need that. Sorry, I have not had any coffee yet this morning.
I mean, I'm sure we can wait for you if you want to go get coffee.
I actually have some. I just haven't drank it yet because I haven't any coffee. Therefore, I keep forgetting that I already made some. I need a name. There you go. Okay, works. And mustering out. I guess I'll take a special weapon. Don't know what it is, but
Oh, there's a lot of flexibility into what it is.
okay.
So besides big.
It's big.
Well, the load is higher. It
Okay.
doesn't have to be super big. I mean, it's just you get a little bit of a penalty on the load because it's a better weapon than you normally start with.
Cool. I'll have to come up with something interesting.
Cool. I guess we can start with Ben. Why don't you introduce Harp Nilsson to us?
All right. Harp Nilsson is a former scout for the Empire. Did a lot of planet exploring, and he was pretty good at it because he has some psychic abilities. Unfortunately, his abilities also led to some gambling problems and getting caught cheating, which is why he was then removed from service. And now he's trying to make his way.
Great. Bethany, can we find out about Kay?
Yeah, Kay. Oh wait, I need pronouns. Hold on. We'll roll a dice for that. Kay is she, her. Let's see. Kay is I think in this case, scout means like someone who's done a lot of different jobs and adapts quickly. She's not particularly awesome at any one thing. And I don't know, like what would explain that?
Well, she's a pilot. Maybe she's like just drifts around and does tramp piloting stuff.
Yeah, I think so. I think and has done a lot of different stuff, like basically just whatever. Hey, you need somebody to take people to this place, or probably been on small ships mostly where you have to like learn how to do everything. And I don't know what. Let's see. I don't have any really great background story. Somebody else can go.
Great. I guess let's go to Curtis and Jesper Fulcrum.
Jesper is a cutthroat businessman. The literal sense of cutthroat. He worked for a questionably moral conglomerate, working his way up to the top. But he realized that he'd rather make his own business and force everyone to be below him. So he's setting out to make his own fortune. He spent his last creds on some grunts to do his dirty work for him.
Yeah, tell me a bit about those grunts. What's their specialty?
Beatings, maybe.
So literal grunts. Got it.
Yeah. Henchmen.
The word gangster is such an ugly word, and yet it sticks to my tongue at this point. And finally, Anders, how are you pronouncing that? Skippa? Shippa?
Skip. So Skip uses they them pronouns because trying to explain the system. I'm going as like, has anyone read Provenance by Anne Leckie?
I've
Heard
read.
of it, but
Anyway, in the system where the majority of the story is set, the society there has 3 accepted pronouns. There's the he, him, she, her, and er, which is the connotations of how that all plays into gender and stuff is complicated, never completely explained like any gender situation is, but they, them is easier to get people to use than trying to explain one that's more local to people who aren't from there. So they've settled on they, them for out in the world. They were a military medic and was good at it and saw a lot of shit and hated it and got out and was a bit too military medic to get along well with the posh merchant crew that hired them afterward. So when that contract was not re-upped, and so now they're freelancing.
This is cool. You are definitely a ragtag bunch of rovers for sure. Cool. So let's find out a little bit about our empire. This is my favorite part generally. So what I got is a bunch of questions. Most of them are choose the best option. A couple are choose multiple. So the first question I want to know about is the empire vibrant and expanding, stagnant and sequestered, reborn after a dark age, or decaying and collapsing?
either one of the last two.
I like decaying and collapsing. It's like part of why Skip got out, because they were seeing too many good people die for fighting for battles that didn't matter, that were already lost.
That's good.
Sounds good to everyone?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Next, the empire is usually seen as honorable but cruel, treacherous but cowardly, decadent but arrogant, or chauvinistic but generous.
I vote for treacherous and cowardly.
Let's see these options again.
I think that fits with the decaying universe sort of theme.
Yeah, it does seem a piece. Is that good with everyone?
Yeah, that works. It does
like
fit.
there's too much. The empire is like there's too much. Everyone at each other's throat to actually deal with fixing its shit.
Cool. So everyone sees the soul of the empire as its powerful military, its wealth and glamour, its commercial domination, or its history and traditions.
I think history and traditions. I think there's like an obsession with the good old days because it's decaying and collapsing.
That work for everyone? Okay. But the actual backbone of the empire is its jealously guarded secret technology, its efficient and autocratic bureaucracy, its control of a useful and rare substance, or its powerful megacorporations.
I think mega corporations fits in with Jesper's background.
Was definitely going to go with Megacorps.
That's probably why it's decaying and collapsing.
Of course.
Feels alarmingly
Yeah.
on point for 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, here's one of my favorite questions. The Empire likes swords because, and any of these can apply, guns are illegal, swords are a class marker, duels are common, deliberate antiquarianism, swordsmanship is a respected art, or swords are just cool. That's all.
Deliberate antiquarianism would fit with the history and traditions, and the fact that it's seen as and not the truth. But also, like, swordsmanship as a respected art could also be fit with that really well.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we can choose multiple ones for this.
And
one,
then
so
I
it's
would
good.
also, since we can pile on here, I would also throw on swords as a class marker and duels are common. Just
Yeah.
crank up the. Are the rich people okay? No, they're not.
Oh god. So the rich people are basically like modern Civil War reenactors who think that, like, they're always on the South side, and they're always like talking about the honor of the
I'd like to suggest removing the respected art option, as it's because of the duels and class markers. It's more of a just required skill if you're anyone of power or wealth, and it's more just like a dirty tool if you need to resort to it, perhaps.
Yeah, that seems to follow.
That's fair.
Cool. So it's less samurai and more just dueling. Great. Which I guess is also samurai. Anyway,
Actual samurai, not the story they sell.
Yeah, exactly.
actual samurai. The Empress's most feared asset is her elite military guard unit, omniscient intelligence agency, mega weapons, or irresistible personal charisma.
Oh man, these are good.
I think the military guard unit might be a good one.
Yeah, I think if this wasn't a one shot, I'd go with Omniscient Intelligence Agency, but not. I think something more
Military guard
blunt for
unit
this.
or mega weapons.
Yeah,
The mega weapons has a certain appeal because, like, no one quite pushes the Empress because they do have their finger on the button, but the button's a really blunt tool, which means that they can't use it nearly as much as they'd like. But the elite military guard unit's also very solid.
I feel like the military guard unit is like the private mega corporation enforcers.
oh, that could work.
Blackwater World.
Yep.
Jeez. All right.
Wow.
So we want military guard unit.
Yeah.
Okay. The Empire's most dangerous enemy is a ragtag alliance of rebels, aliens, a rising or collapsing rival power, or itself. Look in the mirror, Empire.
I vote for itself.
Same.
It's decaying and collapsing, and it's full of mega corporations and treachery. It's eating itself from the inside.
Right, and it's elite. People like to duel rather than spending their time doing constructive things.
I have to tell you, itself is generally the most popular answer. All right, now a little universe boundary questions. FTL travel takes 1 week no matter how far you go, a long time based on how far you go, the speed of plot, or instantaneous.
I feel like for a one-shot, speed of plot should be
Yeah,
a good
Speed of
choice.
plot sounds about right, yeah.
Also a popular choice. You may notice that some of these questions allow you to do things like build Star Wars or build classic Trav, because I just felt I owed Mark that. FDL communication is non-existent. Messages travel on ships, expensive and unreliable, only available to mega corporations or governments, or ubiquitous and cheap.
maybe expensive and unreliable.
expensive and unreliable, or just ships only are my preferences.
Okay, I think I like expensive and unreliable then. Which would also explain the collapse of the Empire. Cool. Psychic powers are check off all that apply. Illegal, dangerous to the user, not that powerful, or an untapped source of great power.
I'm gonna
One psychic, so
suggest illegal. At the least.
It does seem like the Empress would want to quell any sort of dangerous individuals.
And the scouts seem like the sort of group that would look the other way as long as you're, otherwise playing by the rules. It's when you were psychic and cheating that they're like, you had to, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, as long as I was being useful, it was okay. But, yeah.
all right, cool. And finally, for a little color, Old Earth is lost to history, the capital of the Empire, just another of the core worlds, or a cautionary tale.
Kind of want to go for extremes and say either the capital of the Empire or a cautionary tale.
I mean, at this point, either of those are the same given this empire.
True.
I vote for full-on cautionary tale. It's like, no, we do not, in fact, learn from our mistakes. We just make them bigger.
That's okay. That seems fair. I get that one a lot too. Cool. So I know it's a little bit early to do it, but I'm thinking let's maybe take a 5-minute break real quick. Now that we got all that sorted out, you can think about your characters, and I can put together a job in 5 minutes, which is cool. And we'll go from there. How's that work?
Sounds good.
All right. So 5 minutes or so. Okay, we're all back. So, this is what I think happens. Jesper, you're approached by someone you used to know back in your cutthroat days in the corporate hierarchy. Her name is Tyla Zulo, and she is now an executive assistant adjutant VP at Omnicorp. Omnicorp is one of those corporations that no one talks about it, but everybody knows the Imperial family owns a quite large stake in. So for sure, she approaches you. Do you bring any of these other fine folks with you, out of curiosity,
Uh,
or is
I
this
always
going to be
have
the
a
team that gets put together by?
I always have a couple following me around just in case.
Okay. I was thinking more of any of the other player characters.
Oh,
Do you
anyway,
have
okay.
any?
If anyone wants to join me.
I don't
Sure.
think Skip is the type to have been working with Jasper ahead of time. Just
Right, but you do have connections, right?
I do.
So,
So
okay,
I
cool.
I may know a person who knew a person who gets me hooked up to this job.
Yeah, I think I think then it's for sure you two, and then probably Harp and Kay have just been hired. So I don't know how well you guys know each other yet. It sounds like Jesper doesn't know people, but I don't know about the rest of you.
And I might have like worked with them before as basically a getaway driver. But yeah, I don't think I'm in on it from the beginning.
Cool.
I
All right.
probably owe Jesper money
This is pretty fair.
or a favor.
Yeah, actually, maybe they might want you at the meeting too, because you are psychic. I mean, not that anybody knows, but you're psychic.
Sure.
Cool. All right. So Skip, Jesper, and Harp, and Jesper has a couple of his bodyguards. Thing 1 and Thing 2. I don't know, but so Tyla meets you at an expensive restaurant. Which depending on whether or not you've eaten well recently, is either a nice change of pace or welcome nourishment. And you schmooze for a while, listening to some band play, and then finally says, "So, Jesper, I'm so sorry that you left the corporate world, but it does open up certain opportunities for a anxious go-getter like yourself, don't you think?"
I take my opportunities where they
Present themselves.
apparent. Yeah, present themselves.
That's good. That's good. I've been approached to handle a job that I'd rather not allocate corporate resources to. There needs to be a certain layer of deniability. Do you understand what I mean?
I'm familiar with the concept.
Yeah. So, have you ever heard of Colonel Liala Malax?
Can't say I have.
She's the youngest.
Has Skip, with their military experience, heard of Colonel?
I think you might have actually, because Liala Malax is the youngest colonel in the history of the Empress's elite guard.
Okay, fair.
So have you met them, or because that might be interesting?
Don't think I've met them. Patched up the aftermath of one of their brilliant but very bloody maneuvers in their move up the ranks.
That sounds perfect. Cool. Yeah. So
I have opinions about colonels and other brass like that are not for this table, or I am either too drunk or not nearly drunk enough to be voicing those kinds of opinions yet.
It seems like your friend Skip knows Colonel Malex. Well, Colonel Malex is due to be promoted to the head of the Imperial Guard, or will be when we can find her. She was going to the planet of Estrav, which, as you may know, is currently the site of a corporate war between the Tyrex Corporation and Astra Arms. It started out as just one of those little brushfire wars where everybody gets to test their new weapons and then we're all happy, but then it got a little nasty. So Liala went there to
something to hide the look of pure disgust on their face.
Liala was sent there to deliver an ultimatum. You know, the standard, if you don't get your act together, the Imperium is going to send the elite guard in and just, you know, settle things once and for all. Her ship kind of got shot down. And no one's taking responsibility, obviously, because nobody wants to. And to be honest, we don't care. Now, colonels come and colonels go. Sometimes things happen. War is a bloody business. Everybody's sword has a little bit of stain on it. But Liala is the Empress's current favorite. If you understand what I'm saying. So we've been asked to find her. But if Omnicorp gets involved, it's going to be we're going to be a three-sided war. And, you know, our third quarter budget just doesn't have room for another major war. Yeah, if it was a minor war, we could maybe swing it, but we just don't. So what I would like to do is put together a nice team that'll go in, headed by a corporate go-getter with a trusted staff, a skilled medic with military experience, and you, Mr. Nilsson, just someone who always seems to be in the know about this sort of thing, if you know what I mean.
Of course.
I look over at Mr. Nilsson and raise an eyebrow speculatively.
So we're going to provide a ship. You'll just go in, be in and out real fast. We're not going to... It's not going to be a well-armed ship, but it will be fast. All you have to do is just locate her in the middle of this war zone and bring her back alive. Should be easy, right?
I'm signing up to the challenge. And what are we going to get out of this?
Well, as this is a somewhat more risky mission, I'm very sure that we can do the standard 2 credit per member bonus with a bonus for completion, because we're kind of on the clock here. So the quicker you get this done, the happier everyone's going to be. I'll be happy. You'll be happy. You'll be rich. I'll be richer. And we'll be rich in favor. The Empress is known to be happy with people that do little favors for her. I'm sure you want that, right, Jasper? You like the Empress to be happy with you, right?
It can't hurt. I suppose that's almost acceptable. How about we make it 3 credits each?
How about I double your bonus on completion?
I think that's a deal.
Excellent. Now we've happened to find a great, very resilient, resourceful pilot, and I'm sure she's gonna just be a super addition to your team. Anyway, I have to go. Why don't you meet her down at the hangar? And because time is money for you, for me also, but I make more money with less time. So chop chop, let's go, and I'll meet you back here in a few days, right? Yeah, great. So she just storms off. So at this point, obviously, you can go down and meet Kay. There are also things if you want to like do research or anything else, you could do that quick. I entertain any and all interactions at this point. When I should give you the roll for your party room because that was stupid. One sec. Let me just refresh it.
Yeah, I was starting to wonder how we were going to do dice. I was like,
Sorry about that. There's my old friend Dooley Wisekinnan.
As the party heads out, Skip follows in beside Harp, far enough back that Jesper should be out of earshot. He's not terribly concerned if he's not. I think that exec bugs me even more than the one they're sending us with. That takes some doing. They don't care if thing 1 or thing 2 hears, because who cares what they think? They work for the suit. Their job is not to have opinions.
Certainly.
So just to be clear, I will be your medic. I am bound by confidentiality for information you provide to me. I have no personal opinions on psychics. I just need to know so I don't give you the wrong meds that make your head explode.
Let's just say I know things. Leave it at that.
Let's just... I assume we have the whatever the equivalent of phones is, hand brains, whatever you want to call them. I pull mine up and flick something over to him. Let's just say check to make sure I'm not missing anything on the list of do not use drugs, and then we'll call it good.
Yeah, this checks out.
Good. Glad we had this talk.
Yeah.
Is head exploding really a thing?
This may be hyperbolic, but probably not for one that is, operating out in the world like this, but there are known but rare cases of head exploding.
It's only weaponizable in combination with some medications.
Interesting to know. Cool. All right. So, unless somebody wants to jump on something, we can just cut, I guess, to meeting Kay at the hangar next to this incredibly sleek. It's just one of those ships that just looks fast looking at it.
Do we know anything about the planet we're going to?
That's an excellent question. Would you like to roll a wit check for me?
$11. Plus 1. 2.
Yeah, because your wit is 2,
13.
right?
Yeah,
Cool.
okay, 13.
So 12, good. That's a crit. Yeah. So Estrov is a high-tech balkanized world. The war began when Astrarms began to equip one of the more aggressive but smaller nations with high-tech weapons. A coalition of other nations went to Tyrex to buy their weapons, and the next thing you know, there's corporate mercenaries from both sides. It got bogged down. There are a few less major cities now. And the reports are that the Empire was sending a emissary to one of the cities. Let's call her something. These are all hard. Uslau. And Uslau is the scene of some very heavy fighting. There's a core of people in the center that are sort of just eking out a living, but for the most part, it is a fought-over urban wasteland, and that's apparently where the ship crashed.
Well, that's just swell.
They don't hire rovers for the easy, happy-go-lucky jobs.
No, but it's probably bad that Skip was hoping for Jungle. Jungle was, at least honest in the fact that everything wants to eat you.
Well, that seems fair. So we can we'll just put this in the tropical climate and on Estrav.
I think it'll be pretty safe to say that everyone wants to kill us, so it's about as honest.
I mean, everyone and a large subset of things as well, probably, yes.
Yeah, but yes, but I have to extend medical ethics to people first.
This seems fair. And because I have been lax and lazy and it's early, I forgot to do our safety discussion, but there's no time like the present. So we're going to use the X card. On Roll for Your Party, there is an X card button. You can also say X card or do X card, and we will stop and rewind to whatever it is that we need to push the story forward. Also, there's always a open door policy or closed window policy. So if you do need to leave, that's totally okay. Your safety is far more important. We can do lines and veils if you like. If there's anything that people want to exclude, we can put a line around it. And if there's a veil, we can just veil that too. So. Okay. Cool. So, Kay, you've been hired to fly this ship.
I know, right? And it's like shiny and new. And if you've ever had to rent a car for work and you get there and they give you a car that's way nicer than anything that you could personally ever have or drive, that's what's happening here. So I'm checking out, oh man, they've got this cool new, gadget that I've never personally seen, although I've seen it in advertisements.
Tell me something that you absolutely love about that ship, then.
It is. It's supposed to be. I mean, I don't think I've flown it yet, but it's supposed to be faster than anything I've flown before.
Cool. Jesper, why don't you tell me something that bothers you about that ship, though?
Jasper, he's a man who likes the best in life, and this ship doesn't quite cut it. He's seen a lot better. It feels a little pedestrian for him.
Cool. Yeah, so the ship is basically a hyperdrive and maneuver engines and a very small and cramped passenger cabin perched on top of that. So it's mostly engines. And I think it has drop tanks. So they really want you in and out fast. They do not want you refueling in system. They want you to come in. It's definitely streamlined. And I think Kay would be able to tell you that it is faster than most planetary interceptor craft. Maybe not all of them. There are a few. Why don't we ask Skip, what worries you about the medic bay?
This is not a medic bay. This is a glorified first aid kit. I have more supplies in my personal kit.
So this is designed strictly for getting there, getting out, coming back, immediate, no, yeah.
Hopefully they don't need anything more than a fast tourniquet, because anything really serious, your option is get us somewhere with better medical treatment now.
They threw out all those supplies for reduced weight.
Yep.
They threw them out. They never had them. There's no place for it. This is a ship built for people who, if you have serious if you are having serious medical problems in the ship, you can either get somewhere where you can get treatment or you're already dead.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Cool. And speaking of which, Harp, what is something you've not seen on a ship like this before that actually excites you?
Well, the first answer that had come to mind that doesn't seem terribly useful is heated seats, but useful that I haven't seen before. Somebody actually had the idea of getting rid of the concept of escape pods and just turning the entire passenger cabin into a detachable escape pod. Because this ship is basically engine and passengers with a small medical bay in between. And if anything crazy happens, they just blow the seals at the medical bay and just separate from the engines.
That of course will not come up at all.
Never.
Of course not.
Cool. And one last thing, tell me about your team. Besides the fact that they are leg breakers, are they armed up to what kind of standard?
Mostly blunt weapons, maybe a couple hidden shivs. They're mostly about muscle, though, holding people down. So I can give them a stern talking to, you know.
All right, excellent. I have just rolled a die randomly, so you have 3 members of this team. That should be good. We'll give them some names maybe in a little bit. Cool. Yeah, so on the ship there are some basic weapons then, and then whatever gear you guys want to handle. And I think you guys can take off for Esrov, which, seeing as we move at the speed of plot, you get there far more quickly than you ever thought possible, Kay. And you have
awesome.
you have to trim the ship in hyperspace like every 10 minutes instead of every 2 hours. It's amazing. So you break out into the system and head towards Uslau, and here's where I'm going to need you to make a piloting check with grit as you come into range of the automatic weapons arrays. Is that a 9?
That is a 9.
Okay, cool. So, the good news is that you evade the initial barrage of antimatter missiles easily. The ship is far more stealth than expected. Unfortunately, you tripped the secondary line of heat-seeking missiles, and 2 are on your tail now. You're moving faster than they expect, but they will eventually catch up to the ship if you guys don't do something.
Oh, well, so they're heat seeking, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm gonna fly to the nearest sort of relatively urban area and look for something like a power plant that generates heat that would put off enough heat to draw them off of me.
Cool, sure. There's got to be a fusion plant somewhere running in the city that you're going to subject to a missile attack, so that's great. That sounds like a wit roll.
No unforeseen consequences here at all.
Yeah, yeah, I think, well, you know what? let's let Harp make this roll, I think, because there's probably a sensor station, and and also he's psychic. So Harp, why don't you give me a plus wit roll, and we'll see what happens here. Ben, you're still muted.
So yeah, that's a 9.
Oh, good. Cool. There is, in fact, a power plant that you can find, and it is putting out a tremendous amount of heat. This is because it is currently unstable, but it's definitely easy to hide behind it, and the missiles will hit the power plant instead of the ship. What do you guys do?
That'll teach him for shooting at anyone who passes by.
This is fair.
I mean, I'll do that unless somebody convinces me not to.
This planet has an atmosphere, right? This is we established as tropical, so yes, it does.
Yep. Yeah, it's actually a nice planet for humans for the most part. Where nice does not actively attempt to murder you at every step of the way. Okay, cool. So yeah. Okay, you pull around the power plant. The missiles strike the power plant. There is a tremendous explosion. It's not thermonuclear because I'm going to be just realistic enough with my space opera to tell you that fusion reactors would not work that way. But what does happen is the lights that are on for a significant portion of the remaining lit part of the city go out. And you're probably going to draw attention to this. So what do you do next? Where you guys put down?
How big is this ship?
Say about the size of a smaller passenger jet.
Oh yeah, not something we could hide, but like not too huge. Cool.
We could probably find it like an abandoned warehouse somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is a more or less a war zone, right? I don't know what city are we in the city we were going to, or yeah,
Yep.
say we were.
Yeah, urban wasteland was the word.
Yeah, so there are definitely abandoned sections of it, or like mostly abandoned sections of it. So I'm gonna aim for one of those, and yeah, try to like hide the ship in some warehouse or somewhere it's not immediately visible from the air.
Okay. Yeah, there's plenty of places like that. Why don't you give me a grit roll, just because this is a little bit of tricky flying that you're going to need to keep your cool with.
Eight.
Okay, good. All right. So you land, but as you're coming in for the landing, you hear a scraping noise, which doesn't stop the ship. You put right down, but when you go out,
the paint.
The paint, yes. But worse, one of the fuel tanks has been very slightly punctured, and there is a fuel leak now. It's not particularly dangerous because it's just hydrogen. It's evaporating out, but you are now even more on the clock because you will run out of fuel if you guys are not quick.
Okay.
Or can find some way to repair it. But, the ship doesn't have much in the way of repair kits because there's nothing on it but people and engines.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's next, guys?
Well,
You're on the let's say the 5th floor of a blown out building.
I'd like to see if I can use the sensors to find any kind of a distress signal, since we know that the ship was shot down.
That's a good idea. You're now close enough that the jamming would probably be harder to hide. So yeah, why don't you give me a wit roll on that? Do you have tech as a skill?
I don't.
But you do have survival. That may come in handy.
So without survival, that's a 6 total.
Excellent. What good news. Okay. So you're scanning around, and the good news is you've picked up an Imperial landing beacon. That's not too far away. It's a couple clicks away. The bad news is you also pick up the chatter from a drone strike team that's been sent out to investigate the power plant and trace down what the hell happened there. So in addition to the fuel leaking out of the ship, there is active opposition looking for you guys. But you do have a fix at least on the beacon, so that's a thing.
Skip's already dressed and ready to roll out. They got their full med kit, their sidearm, armor on.
This would actually be a good point for people to pick their load, and then we can get rolling.
I'm going to go with a normal load because at this point, inconspicuous is going to be trickier.
Inconspicuous is conspicuous.
You're probably more conspicuous if you don't have weapons covering every part of your body.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're completely loaded down with weapons, that draws attention. But if if you don't have any, then you're just a walking target. Where do you select them?
Oh, it's right under your hit points, which I should have people fill in. But everybody, it looks like everybody has 10 hit points, so that'll be great. You guys are gonna be fine.
I see. Okay.
Hey,
Cool.
Catherine.
Yeah.
A quick suggestion for your character keeper.
Yeah.
If you break off a chunk on the side of the highlighted equipment tab that fills in with the load that you select from above, it'll be a lot easier to reference.
Yeah, that is probably fair. I threw this together with great haste at the last minute. So
yeah, no worries. Just a quick suggestion.
Yep. At some point, I want to fix things. Cool. Okay, Jesper, you're going light, right? You have dudes for this. Got it. Cool. All right then. It seems like it's somebody's turn to shine and try and find your way through this urban wasteland to get to the beacon. And I'm thinking that's probably Harp, since you're the survival guy.
So I will export the current scan map onto a little personal unit and like a little personal GPS kind of unit. And while we clearly know a rough layout of the terrain and where the beacon is, what's between us and there that isn't on the map is, of course, questionable.
For some reason, Google Corp Map stops updating in war zones.
Yeah. Street View is useless too because everything's just rubble at this point.
So, based on that, it sounds like you're using your wits to try and navigate a course, huh?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Could I put survival on this too?
I think definitely, yeah.
All right. Oh, the modifier didn't add on that. So, yeah, that's a terrible roll, and the result is 6.
Excellent. I mean, terrible. How terrible for you. Okay, cool.
Guys, this map data is wicked out of date. Like, I don't think that building is even listed on here. This is going to be tough.
Yeah, it's a problem because the courses that you try and take aren't easily available, obviously. But what gets you in trouble is you reach a section that you were sure was going to be open based on your previous sightings from higher ground. But as you arrive, somebody has shoved a couple of old grav transports that are not flying anymore directly in your path. And there's just enough of the kind of skittering and motion around you that that certainly Skip, who's been in the military, but probably Jesper, who has a fine sense of ambushes, political and physical, can tell there is definitely an ambush going on here. There's people up there watching you guys.
Is there any cover around?
There's probably some, but you'll have there's open ground you have to traverse to get to it. And it's not a great ambush, but it's not a terrible ambush either. I think for free I can tell Skip that it's probably not a military unit because it doesn't look like it's got that kind of precision, but there's definitely they definitely laid a decent enough ambush to catch people unawares.
Yeah. If I had a squad, if I was with a squad of actual, if I was with an actual squad, we could take this. He looks over at Thing 1 and Thing 2, who refused to learn their names.
Don't forget Thing 3. He's my favorite.
Little Cat Z over there.
I think they just sort of shrug and clutch their pole arms tighter. Yeah, so what are you guys gonna do?
I have this special weapon, which I picked range as its tag. Could I hit one of them from here?
Absolutely.
All of a sudden, our pilot unslings a rifle and
there might be there's probably a smidge of disadvantage on this because they do have cover. But yeah, definitely you can make a might roll to start shooting. Cool.
At the very least, if they're smart, they'll realize, oh, hey, they've seen us and give up their ambush attempt. But they're probably not that smart, so
probably not.
This
is the point where I want to remind people that you have a certain amount of strain linked to the number of terms you have, and what strain does is if you spend it, you can roll an extra d6 and add it to the roll. So that may come in handy right now. So yeah.
5.
What do you want to do? Because that's going to be a clean miss.
Do I want to? I mean, how many of them are there?
You have 1 term, so you have 2 strain, and you can get strain back by taking a rest.
Okay, and I mean, how many people are there?
Oh, well, you see the 1 for sure that you take a shot at. There's definitely more than 1, but I don't think. Well, you have some JOT stuff. You think between 4 and 6 people are probably up there.
Okay. I'm not sure how much good shooting one of them would really do.
You could just pretend it's a warning shot.
Yeah.
If nothing else, it'll get them moving.
that's kind of what I wanted to do anyway. So I don't think it matters that much whether I hit somebody.
Please try to hit.
Okay, I mean, I could take a strain and roll another d6, and yeah, let's try it.
You have at least a 50% chance of getting it to work.
Okay, cool. I'll do that. Oh wait, no, that was a 4. I was like, wait, another one? No. So that is now a 9.
Cool. All right, cool. You shoot somebody, roll a d6 for your damage, and let's see what happens next.
Five.
Ouch. All right. Guy feels it. He shrieks and drops his weapon. But at that point, somebody from behind you fires their gun, and you'll just take 3 points of damage.
Awesome. This is a great way to start off this mission.
So what's everybody else doing? Shots have been fired, but it may not be too late to stop them from being fired anymore.
I was thinking about pulling out a long rifle as well. And I was wondering if there was anything around that might be nice and explosive and provide a good distraction that I could shoot.
I think you need to make a wit roll to see if it's there, and then we'll see how that goes.
All right.
So 9.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Yeah, you see that there's the battery of a wrecked grav car nearby, and you can tell because you can see the interior lights are still on that it's still powered up. So if you shoot that, it'll explode real nice. The problem is that it's not close enough to where they drop the 2 cars to block the path that you'll be able to get out that way. You'd have to retreat.
I mean, I'm all for, finding another way around.
All right.
So I'll go ahead and take that shot.
All right, cool. I don't think there needs to be a roll for that. So that goes off and explodes, and people can run. You knew it was happening. Where is Jesper and Skip? You get away. You'll get away because you're used to explosions and running. So what I want to know is where Jesper is with his little group of merry men.
I think he'd probably be at the back of the group, hoping that anyone shooting at us would have shot at the others first.
All right.
Corporate leadership at its finest.
Excellent. Okay. So
Skip, as before he runs, is going to make sure that he's going to be moving with Kay to make sure since she got hit.
Excellent. Okay. So for Jesper and Skip, I need a grit roll. And Kay, since someone's helping you, you're gonna get away. Fine. It's always it's always altruism that gets punished.
Five. I'll spend a grit to add another d6.
Excellent.
Not 8 total.
All right, cool. So
Spending a grit myself to just get ahead of the curve on this. And I'm going to go ahead and spend another one because I'm a commando and can do that.
Yes.
There we go.
Cool. All
That
right.
puts me to a 10 as
So
opposed to a 5.
so probably there's some weapons fire in your way, and you have to like flatten down and then drag K behind you. But it's not the first time you've done that. So with your superhuman effort, you're able to pull her free.
Not behind, it's over the shoulder carry.
Oh, even better. But Jesper, here's your terrible choice. Either one of your little coterie is gonna take a bullet, or you're not gonna be able to get out before some people drop down and block your path.
Well, I think Thing Two's gotta go.
Oh dear.
He's had his time.
So does that mean thing 3 becomes thing 2?
No.
No, thing 3. There is no thing 3. There is Little Cat Z. There is now thing 1 and Little Cat Z.
Well, okay, yeah, poor thing two sees that somebody's got a beat on you and pushes you down and takes a head wound and just drops. Poor ablative grunts. But the rest of you are able to get away and find a burnt out basement to hide in for a moment. What's your next step? You still have a good fix on the beacon, for sure.
Well, I'm sure that wound that who took that?
Okay, so
Yeah.
So what are the rules for first aid? Since I've got medic, so like. Kat, you may be muted. I see your lips moving and.
Sorry. That's the joy of using my cough button to do all that. So you can take a rest right now. People that have any unspent strain get back 1d6 of hit points per unspent strain. Of course, that does not include K, right? You took both your strain, yes?
No, I'm muted. I just took 1.
Oh, okay. So you'll get back 1d6, and you can use a med kit and spend a use of that to get back an additional 1 hit point.
I'll try.
Or
to
you can not take the rest because you are a medic and you can do the first aid on the fly.
So how much does the first aid on the fly get it to just 1?
Yeah, it's 1d6, but you can spend a use of your med kit too to increase that.
Okay. So I'm going to just try and do it and not use save it for when I feel like we might be able to get away without.
While while K is being patched up, I want to see if I can get up somewhere high and get a vantage point and make a quick sketch of the actual layout of this city, since the maps are useless at this point.
Okay.
All right.
That's...
So I'm going to roll the green die to see how much I heal. K4 with first aid. And 1. Well, it's better than nothing.
Yep.
Ouch. Yeah, I mean you can also spend medkit to roll another die if you want, but as for
Got 8, it's good.
Okay. As for the wow. As for the climbing, why don't you give me a might roll there, Harp, and
Oh no.
see what you can find. Yeah, no, this will be fun. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
All right. All right, a might roll. Well, what? That did not work right. -1. Yeah. No.
Okay, cool. So you start climbing up a heap of rubble while Skip is patching up poor Kay. And at one point, as you're climbing up, you start to slip, and you're seriously worried that you're gonna fall. But somebody grabs your arm, and then like lifts you high in the air, and you come face to face with what I can only describe as an 8-limbed bear wearing armor. And he grunts and chucks you to the ground. And there's a human man and a human woman staring at you like, well, what do we have here? And it says the guy who's wearing a cape and has a really ornate sword.
Just a tourist looking for a good photo vantage point. That's all.
Tourist.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I heard the ruined vistas here were just amazing. And they are. They are. They absolutely are. I love them. Did you make them?
Us? No. Our work is generally more precise and a lot more destructive. Hi, I'm Garth. This is Alice.
Hi, Garth.
That's Korush the Ravener.
Garth. Nowish?
So, Alice, I think our next decision is what are we going to do with this guy? Because I think SOP is that we just put a bullet in his head and move on because we're on a mission.
You don't have to shoot me. I'm not going to get in your way.
But what if we wanted to shoot you?
I mean, I respect that. We all have our own desires. I want to get up there and take a photo. You want to shoot me. Could you? I don't know. Maybe we can find an agreement.
So I'm going to need a rule here for something, but it's definitely going to be wits because you're trying to talk your way out of this. But a question occurs to me, which is, are you going to use your psychic powers?
I absolutely am.
Spooky effect. So some sort of old Jedi mind trick type thing?
Yeah. Just some basic mind trick, like put them at ease, or maybe if I can, get a read on what they're after, I can, maybe hint at, some way that since they're on a mission, if I can get a quick read on what their mission is, and I have any kind of knowledge about it, I can, either put a suggestion in their head that, shooting someone is probably a bad idea at this point.
Excellent. So spend a strain.
All right.
And then give me a wit roll, and let's see how this goes.
Why do I keep rolling 4 dice? Oh, I know. I was being added on the other 2 that were still there, I think. 2 of those, 1 of those.
Okay. Alice is extremely guarded. That's why she doesn't talk that much. So you have trouble getting any thoughts off of her other than, this is inefficient, let's just move. But Garth is big extroverted guy. Korush, you just get weird thoughts like, I'm hungry, human tastes good, why am I not eating?
This armor itches.
But with Garth, it's immediately obvious he's looking for the exact same thing you are. You can get you get a clear memory of him looking at his little hand computer and staring at the beacon signal. So yeah, it seems like they had the exact same mission as you guys, which doesn't surprise you. They could have been hired by a rival corp, or they could be hired by the same corporation because battling business units is a good thing.
Yeah. All right, so getting all that thought, I'm but like, Garth, listen. You don't want to shoot me, and I'll tell you why. We actually just got out of an ambush right over there, and if you shoot me, that gives away our position. They're going to come after us, and okay, I lied. I'm not a tourist. Judging by your gear, your friend here, you're probably here after the same thing we're after. And honestly, professional courtesy, I think we should just, part ways. You're probably dealing with the same map problems we are. I'm not after a photo. I just want to see what the layout is. But look, if we can just,
Not
agree
kill
to
each
part
other.
ways, we'll probably come into a conflict later on, but we should probably do it somewhere not near that ambush. Sound good?
Well, that is good tactics. And frankly, you're not competition. So, okay. Go back down to your little friends. I'm sure we won't meet again because we're gonna get there ahead of you. And just, enjoy. Oh, and by the way, Korish now knows what you smell like. So keep that in mind.
All right. Thanks, Garth. Pleasure doing business. Best of luck to you.
I think Alice just looks at you, shakes her head. It's like, cool.
As I stumble back down, I'm like, I gotta get me one of them bears. Where do you get something like that? Jasper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bad news. We got competition. Good news, it's only 2 people. More bad news, and an 8-armed armored bear.
Okay. Well, I've dealt with situations like this before. The important thing to do is keep doing what we were doing in the first place and hope that everything turns out well. Confidence is the best route to take in dire situations. True fact.
All right, I have new names for your grunts. That one's Dunning, that one's Kruger.
Call them whatever you want. I honestly couldn't care less.
I know. That's why I'm doing this. Also, what's the actual species name for the 8-armed space bears? Asks the ex-military person who probably skirmished with them at some point.
I think the only name I've ever used for them is Spider Bear. They have their own name.
And I don't have enough to properly pronounce it.
People like to say that they're cannibals. They resist that appellation because they don't eat their own species. Other species are completely fair game.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes,
I mean,
they are not cannibals. They are, however, sapiophages.
I mean, how sapient can you be if you couldn't run away fast enough?
They do not respect the food that talks is not food rule. Sapiophage. Gotcha.
Yeah, not so much. Their home planet was invaded by humans, and they have not forgotten that. Cool. So what's your next move, Scoobs?
Is everyone all right to set out now? Now that we've had a little rest?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not even going to take a second to pretend to say words for nods back in the direction.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, of course you don't. Let's move.
Okay. Do we have a bearing for your merry band? Or are we
I'm
gonna need...
sure we do.
Okay, Harp, why don't you lead the way? Let's call this a grit roll. Because I think at this point now it's just like you've got to tough up and just take whatever way you can rather than trying to find an easy way.
All right. Could I add my survival on this?
Absolutely.
2, 2, blue. Yeah, these dice hate me. So that's an 8.
All right, excellent. So here is what happens. You eventually work your way into the area closer to the beacon. This is a part of the city that hasn't been as devastated, so a lot of the buildings are still standing and the roads are somewhat still clean. And that would be great, except of course that means that it's also been claimed by one of the corporate military units. So smack dab in your path is an advanced platoon of corporate guys. They have a couple of drone bots in the area. There's not a lot of them, but there are a bunch of them, and they're pretty well armed. What are you guys gonna do?
I'm going to borrow whoever's got the binoculars and is scoping out the unit there and take a look.
Right, because you're ex-military, so you're trying to like get a sense of what they are.
More, I'm basically looking for an excuse to trigger my connections with their commanding officer.
That's fantastic. If you want to use your connections ability, you absolutely recognize the guy. So tell me about it. Tell me about who you recognize down there.
I'm going to say I don't recognize the actual officially commanding the corporate hierarchy commanding officer. What I do recognize is the senior NCO.
Nice.
Which is to say the person who actually gets things done.
Tell me about them.
So pops over to the PDF to look at names again. Wrong direction. There we go. I look and I see. I'm like, they've got Ribbon as a chief they've got Ribbon as a gunny. Good for them. Or terrible, depending on how he got that, but not my problem.
Cool.
Someone pass me a comm unit.
Excellent. So you're gonna try and raise Rillin?
I'm going to call out with like our old Imperial, like call out to his old the nickname he had back when we were in the same Imperial unit together, where I was attached as their corpsman.
Excellent. All right. So you see him pause through the binocs. You see him pause, grab his communicator, and just sort of wave off some people, and he goes around a corner, so you don't have line of sight on him anymore. But then you hear him answer like, "Skip."
Ah, good. You did recognize the corpsman that saved your life.
I thought I paid you back for that with that thing in the casino, with that girl, and that other girl, and the gun.
No, that was not that. Skip's not that. Skip's not that person. Like, no, that was Tom, the other corpsman. I'm the clean one, remember?
Oh, right. Okay. Good to hear from you. I'm a little
Likewise.
busy right now.
I hear you. So I just need to make your life a little easier by, if you don't patrol the sector to the left for about 4 minutes, that'd be great.
Oh,
And then you'll never hear from me again.
Skip. You're not gonna steal anything, are you?
We're just gonna walk on by.
All right. For you, because you did save my life. I'm still limp, you know. But fine.
I'm the corpsman. Take that up with the VA.
I think you both have a bitter laugh about that.
Yes.
But you see him go up to the unit commander and like start an argument, and then a few minutes later the unit pulls out with one of the drones coming last and just sort of looking around and then moving away. So your way is now clear.
All right, move. I told him 4 minutes. I don't expect any more than that.
All right. Cool. So, why don't we take a break for 5 minutes as we come up on this thing? And when we get back, I think you'll arrive at the beacon.
Awesome.
All right.
All right.
Okay. So, you come through the streets after you bypass the security patrol, and in the rubble of a building that looks like something crashed into it at great velocity from the side, you find the escape pod that crashed into it at great velocity from the side. But there's a pile of rubble next to it with a kind of marker of some kind, maybe just a pole stuck in the ground with a little flag. Sitting next to it is a guy wearing very pieced together armor. There's a plasma rifle leaning against the wall next to him, but he's got this enormous sword sitting on his lap. And as you approach, he looks up at you and says, "I am Trix, the warden. I was told others might come. What are you here for?"
Well, not to be too blunt, but that.
Well, there's nothing inside that anymore.
I don't suppose you know where whoever was in there went, do you?
And if I did,
We'd like to know.
Jasper, looks like you have something to say.
I'm fairly sure we're on the same side here. We're both looking to help out whoever it was that arrived on this ship. We'd like you to confirm whether we're talking about the same person here.
If you mean Colonel Malix, Colonel Malix is alive and well.
That'd be the one, yeah. We were hired to help get her off the planet.
Ah, so you're here to take her from us.
More to take her to somewhere safer.
Is there really anywhere safer? Really?
Marginally so, I'm pretty certain, yes.
Well, my orders are to interrogate anyone who came here and then decide if they were worthy of any further discussion. Are you worthy of further discussion? And he grips his sword, the haft of his sword.
I think the weapon that Jesper has is also a sword, because that's the sort of social groups he mixes with. So he starts pulling it out of the scabbard.
Oh, motherfucker. I point my pistol at the guy because I'm about done with this. Like, look, y'all with the fancy titles can play around with your swords and your honor and your bullshit, but I am being paid to do a job, and that job is to escort the colonel to a place of safety at the hands, indirectly, but very much of the Empress, who may or may not be her lover. I don't give a fuck. But I'm pretty sure I can put a round in you before you can drop that pig sticker and get to that rifle of yours, because you're too busy playing silly buggers. So can you put down your sword and I'll put down my gun and we talk about this like reasonable people, or do we start making death happen?
Why don't you give me a wit roll there? Actually, yeah. Nah, it's gotta be might. It's gotta be might. You're trying to threaten this guy. So give me a might roll. That'll be entertaining. We'll see what happens.
It is. It will be. And 3d6 minus 1, because I'm spending that last strain because I know when I'm pushing my luck already, so might as well push it a little back the other way. And that's an 11.
Very well done. Excellent. So he looks at you. He looks at Jasper. He just sort of chuckles and takes off his helmet. All right, then. I can take you to the Colonel. I don't think this will go quite the way you expect, but you seem like an interesting crew. She'll probably be at least amused by you. So he hops off the pile of rubble. But before he does, actually, he grabs that pole and shakes it a little so that the flag waves. And you hear somebody like whistle from the building above. So he was probably covered the whole time. And he takes you to what must have been a subway station once. And down in there by the maglev tracks, you find a whole cluster of people with various and sundry arms that look like they've been scavenged from whatever has been fighting in the area. They're not wearing uniforms, but they all look like they have a certain purpose. And in the middle, wearing a torn and faded Imperial Elite Guard uniform, is a young woman with her hair tied back, and she's going over a chart and pointing stuff out when you guys come in. What you guys do?
Having said all the piece I cared to say at this point, step back. It's Jasper's turn to see if he can.
I think he walks straight up to Malex and says, Liala, good news. Your rescuers have arrived.
She looks up at you like, if that's funny, you don't look like an Imperial reinforced platoon.
Well, we've got a little more finesse than they do. We don't need all the extra trimmings.
Who hired you to come here? Because I'm assuming someone hired you. I don't think you don't look altruistic enough to have done this on your own volition.
I take offense at that. But
No, you don't.
You're not wrong. I'm not sure I remember the name of who hired us. Perhaps one of my friends here could fill you in.
Really? Really?
Yeah, really. I don't know why you'd expect more of me at this point.
So she's just looking at the four of you like, mm-hmm.
You owe me. You owe me half of your share for this, for the record. And I proceed to provide the name of the Omnicorp executive who hired us.
Sorry about that. I was trying to say something. I was muted.
Oh, sorry.
And we can choose between the two. I was thinking this was a good opportunity to try and get a psychic roll on her to see who she's hoping hired us.
That sounds entertaining. That's wit. So give me a wit roll and spend the strain to use your psychic power.
All right, 2d6 plus 1 for wit. Of course not.
That's totally fine. Let me just think. Okay. What you get with a sickening feeling is the sudden realization that Liara does not want to, in fact, leave. And she looks up sharply and just looks at you there, Harp, and just says, I see you guys are really out of the pocket. So it sounds like Vicky's looking for me. Her Majesty is a busy woman, and I'm sure she'll find some other distractions while I'm gone. But right here, we have a perfect chance to demonstrate that the Empire is not completely lost. This is a chance to reclaim the honor and to save these brave civilians and expose the megacorporation malfeasance that led to this war. And why, just this morning, the power plant was destroyed, and that was the last source of power for this entire sector.
How unfortunate.
Yeah, I like kind of subtly look at the ground, like, not had nothing to do with this.
So I appreciate you guys reaching out. You can tell whoever you hired me, you guys, to tell Victoria that I'll be home as soon as I can, but I'm a little busy right now.
Who exactly is it you're trying to help here?
These people, they're all Imperial citizens, Imperial citizens. They have been grievously harmed by this wicked war, which has started over nothing more than profits. There's no honor here.
So,
I can't agree with that, but what are you going to do?
Well, since you ask, there's going to be a meeting of certain of the unit commanders on both sides to not for an armistice or anything helpful like that. They're merely going to be working out the zones of control and to talk about the way that they're going to escalate the conflict in Q4. It is my goal to infiltrate that and, well, massacre is such an ugly word. Do a force reduction.
Massacre's more honest, ma'am.
Well, I am an Imperial, so honesty doesn't always come easy to me.
I know. I used to be one of your medics.
That explains the 1,000-yard stare.
So, I am not unsympathetic to your cause, but I also need to get paid because life is expensive and megacorp prices go up. Paychecks don't. So I am willing to, since our bonus just vanished into the ether, unless Jasper here is truly suicidal, which I hope he's not, because shooting officers in the back is a bad habit to get into. But for a so what was the bonus we would have received had we completed this?
Your bonus. So the bonus is the number of segments on the clock I didn't fill out, and you are at 4 currently, and the bonus you negotiated was 2 credits per segment. So as of right now, your bonus would be 8 credits.
And that's split across all of us?
That is correct.
So since our bonus has vanished into the ether, we have access to a very fast ship. If you give us a verifiable communique and where you would like delivered, we can make sure your reinforcements get here in an expedited fashion. for, we'll say 4 credits.
Let me get this straight. You want to violate your current patron contract to collect money from me to bring in true. Actually, that's not a terrible idea.
Our contract was to attempt to retrieve you. We would be paid, and then we would receive additional payment for successful completion. Success. I don't trust Dunning and Kruger here against your friends. Those are bad odds. I like not dying. This way, we all get something we want. You get reinforcements, we get paid. The citizens here get this stupid war ended quickly and relatively, and with as minimal casualties as the Imperials are going to do. And then we're gone. And it's on to another problem of brush fire somewhere else that someone throws us at for money.
You have interesting negotiation skills. Have you considered re-upping?
There is not enough credit in the universe, ma'am.
You all agree with this idea?
I have a counter offer. How about I mean, this whole thing seems like a lot of hassle. Maybe you should just cut your losses, come back with us, and then we get paid and everyone's happy. I mean, I don't really see the incentive for us to help out around here. Maybe you can make it worth our while, and I'd be more willing to put my best foot in.
I gently put my hand on Jasper's shoulder. And then gently put my gun against his back. You get a credit, and you get to live.
I think Jasper pulls his hidden dagger from his belt and pokes it back at Skip.
What do Dunning and Kruger do?
I assume they're too thick to actually realize what's happening.
Fair enough. Cool. What are you guys gonna do? There's no fighting in the war room, of course, but what are the rest of you guys doing while they're having their little tete-a-tete and diplomatic meeting?
I mean, I'm totally willing to go along with Skip's idea. No, I have no loyalty to the corporations or the Empire. I have no loyalty, period. Let's just leave it at that.
You like flying ships.
I like flying ships. I like getting paid. I like not dying. So Skip's idea seems to maximize and or minimize that perfectly. Also, it's nice to help people. I like helping people, but only if I also get to not die.
I have a question. Is
Sure.
Trix the Warden here with us?
Yeah, I think so. I think he went to get some something to eat, but he's standing around in the background.
Okay. Hey, guys, can I suggest something here? A couple of things. One, we actually have a connection to that Imperial unit that might be your reinforcements. Two, massacring the leaders on both sides of this conflict isn't going to end the conflict. It's just going to cause the people behind it to send more reinforcements and blame each other for that massacre. It's just going to get worse. And three, yeah, Trix over there, no longer watching the escape pod. I'd like to remind our group of a matter of, let's see, 10 arms and a lot of fur. That's probably on their way here. Just some things for everyone to think about.
That's an important detail there.
It does never pay to leave a spider bear out of your calculations if you know there's one around.
Actually, no, it'd be 12 arms. 8 for the furry thing. 4 for the other 2. Sorry, bad math. Back to the infighting. Go for it.
So, Jasper, let's do some math. 1, your plan involves us somehow convincing the person who very much does not want to leave, who is in command of a larger military force than ours, to leave against her will.
Well, my backup plan was just getting her to pay us. I don't know. I also
She
don't
is
have
paying us for flying away. This is the best deal we're going to get.
Maybe if you put your gun away, I'll agree to the terms.
Well, put your dagger away first.
I asked first, so
I think he's got you on this one. You pulled the gun out first.
I did, but I'm also the person with the weapon in immediately deployable position, so I have the position of advantage. Put the dagger away.
I'm just not feeling very safe here at the moment.
You're not
You all seem
supposed to.
Well, I can tell that that's your intention, but I feel like we're all friends here. We want each other to be comfortable. I don't see why you wouldn't just put away the gun.
Because I trust you about as far as I can throw you. And you're carrying a lot of excess cash. That makes you really heavy.
You both fucking put your weapons away because there are some fairly dangerous people coming this way. We need to make this decision now.
I mean, Liara has been looking at you guys with amusement. Like, you do know you're surrounded by my people, right?
Yes, I do. That's why, leaving him, that's why I'm confident that, holding a gun to him, like, I made a deal that gives you what you want.
I have an idea. Why don't you both put your guns away, and I won't just have my people shoot all of you and get out of my hair. I haven't done that because you'll bleed all over my charts, and these charts were hard to assemble, but I got time, and I got bullets.
Yes, ma'am. And I put my gun away.
I'm glad that we could all come to this agreement.
I'll put my dagger away.
All right, folks. You want to take a message off-world? I know a mercenary company that would be happy for the work if you can get there in time. Obviously, I don't have any money on me. I mean, look around. But I can give you a letter. You can draw from an Imperial connection. If that's what you really want to do, I'm happy to help you.
I check the checksum on whatever digital signet ring signature thing just to make sure. And
well, all right then.
Looks good. All right.
So then I guess you guys need to get back to your ship.
We do.
That's good.
Pleasure doing business, ma'am.
So she's willing to give you the latest intelligence on how to get back, which will probably be useful.
Okay.
Because they know different ways to get around the city, obviously. Cool. So I guess if you guys are gonna leave now, let's start with Harp, and I think you're gonna have to take point again on this, and give me a wit roll, and you can add your survival.
Absolutely. I am happy to get out of here before this gets too unbearable.
as opposed to unbared, which is how we would like the circumstance to stay.
Yeah, so that's a 6.
It's a 7, isn't it? Because you have survival?
I did not add the survival, so yeah, 7.
Cool. Well, that's good. That's good because it means that you suss the ambush before it happens. As you guys are traipsing through some of the burnt out streets, and most of the way has been fairly covered, but every now and then you do have to come out into the open. And when you do, you hear some rubble slip, which gives you a chance to see that there's a large, what you thought was just some rubble is in fact a large furry animal flattened out against a slope with holding a gun that frankly looks like it should be a vehicle mounted weapon and trying to get a beat on you guys. What are you guys gonna do? Because of course they followed you. That was what they did. They're lazy and good mercs.
I mean,
when I see that, I'll just shout like, "Scatter, scatter!"
I
Right,
do,
cool.
and also, what the hell? I'll shoot the bear.
Hold fire. I reach in my thing, find something white, and stick it up on a stick and wave it up. Hold up.
Okay.
Talking first. Talking before shooting.
Cool. I'm all for talking. If you think you can do it, go for it.
So
you raise that white flag. Koresh pokes his head up for a second, like, "Are you kidding me?" and pulls the trigger. Why don't you give me a grit roll to see if you can avoid the worst of this?
All right. And 2d6 and rolling, and that's a 4. And so, fortunately for me, I'm lucky.
Yes, you are. Cool. Yeah, so you see that and you dance back and okay. I think you just get lucky. You dance back and Koresh loses his aim for a second. So instead he just takes out the entire side of what was one of the few unbombed out buildings behind you.
Yes.
Damn it.
I dive to a next piece of rubble, and the previous one I was behind is now no longer there. I'm like, shit.
Now can I shoot him?
Yeah, absolutely.
I shout out, "She doesn't want to go back."
They may have different ideas on how they can convince her.
So I rolled an 8. Do I add anything to that? Is that a...
Yep, that is a might roll. So
Might, okay.
8 is good. Cool. Do a d6 of damage. And oh jeez.
This
All right.
one.
The reason why you did so little damage is as you take the shot at him, you hear the crack of a rifle, and oof, you're gonna take 5 points of damage there, unless you've got armor.
I do not.
You could check it off if you want, or you did. Oh, okay. Are you light? No, you're normal. Right, but you got your yeah, you got 2.
A heavy weapon already though, so I don't.
Oh, you didn't need to have the rifle if you had the special weapon.
Oh, I mostly just tagged that so that I remembered that I had stuff.
Okay.
Oh, I haven't used. Okay, so I'm normal. That's up to how many?
5.
Oh, it's up to 5. Okay. I can have armor then. Cool.
Cool. All right, so that drops down to 4 points of damage. And it looks like Alice took a beat on you while you were aiming at Korush because she's sneaky that way. And meanwhile, Garth drops down in front of you, Jasper, and whips out his ornate sword and is like, looks like it's gonna be you and me, the leaders fighting each other.
As it should be. And I pull my sword out.
Excellent. You want to give me a might roll here?
$10.
Ooh, cool. Do a d6 of damage to poor Garth.
$2.
All right, cool. So you're actually fighting better than he anticipated. He's very good swordsman, but he was expecting you to be a lot worse. So he wasn't trying that hard initially, and you're able to get a good hit in on him. So Harp, what are you doing?
I'm actually going to pull out my rifle and try and get a beat on Alice.
That's good. She's sneaky smart. Cool. Let's see. Well, so you got a choice. So you're just trying to get a beat on her, or are you trying to take the shot right away?
I mean, aim at and shoot.
Okay. Then that is a might roll.
Might.
I know.
Your worst enemy. Yeah, as usual.
A 6.
A 6.
Okay, cool. So you're looking around. You're trying to get a beat on her. When you hear something get thrown down, and Korush comes leaping over the rubble because his rifle jammed for some reason. Somebody got very lucky, but he is running at you with the speed that only a bear that can occasionally have all 4 limbs on the 6 limbs on the ground and 2 ready to claw you can do. What? Yeah. Oof. Why don't you take 5 points of damage as he comes by to clip you? He's aiming at Skip, but he just takes a clip at you as he goes by.
All right.
Speaking of Skip, what are you up to?
I'm pretty sure Garth is the kind of guy who is the only one who tries to make sure he's the only one with handle on the payroll. Alice because I'm sure he trusts Alice about as far as the rest of us trust Alice. Which is as far as we're paying her. A little farther for him, but not much. And I am going to take a shot at Garth. Because quite frankly, I don't particularly care about the collateral damage for him in close combat at this point.
Ouch. Oh, you Rovers are so mercenary. Sure, give me a might roll.
Mercenary would be if I do it for money. I'm doing this mostly out of spite.
That makes it better.
And let's see. Yes, might is my -1. I'm not going to say it makes it better. I'm just being honest about what it is. Well, there we go. That's a 10.
Do a d6 of damage. You catch him completely unsurprised, or rather surprised.
And that's 3 points of damage.
Ouch. Well, he felt that. Cool. Yeah. So, yep. Okay, cool. Unfortunately, that means that you didn't do anything about the freight train that's headed your way. Kay, you can see that that's what's going to happen, is that there's a charging spider bear aiming right at Skip. What do you do?
I am going to shoot him again because what worked so well the first time.
And this will be entertaining.
Yeah.
Like if anyone's going to have a spider bear charging at them, it's at least the person who, bothered to wear the heavy armor to a combat zone.
Oh boy, that's a 5. Hold on. I think I might have a snooze or something. I'd like us to not all die here. What do I have?
I think you still have a strain left, right?
I do. I have a strain. I also have Jack of all trades, which lets me use a skill that another character has that I don't. If anyone else has useful.
I mean, there's
Does
lucky.
that count lucky?
Yeah, lucky. It's a skill.
I'm gonna use lucky. Yeah.
Cool. So what's your you want the lucky outcome to be that you somehow stop Koresh from turning Skip into puree, maybe.
Yeah, that is definitely what I'm aiming for.
Cool. Let's see how we could do that. You taking a bead on Koresh, you're like, headshot, will that do it? And then you notice he still has the ammo belt for that cannon he was carrying. So you take a shot at that, which goes off, and it probably doesn't hurt him that much because he's wearing armor, but it like flings him back into a pile of rubble, which then collapses on him. So he's gonna have to struggle his way out of that for a little bit.
Awesome.
Cool. Jasper, what are you doing?
I think I'm gonna take a moment to berate Skip for firing the shot. Something along the lines of, "What the hell do you think you're doing? We're trying to have a civilized discussion here, and you're buying in with your primitive nonsense. You can't let me have any fun, can you?" I turn back to Garth.
Swords are the primitive thing.
Sure, to uncultured swine like you. I turn back to Garth.
That was why I shot at you.
And I say, I apologize for these people. I honestly don't know them very well. I don't think I'll be working with them again.
Oh, not at all. I mean, it's so hard to find people you trust. That's why it was so hard for me to find Alice. Shall we?
Yes, of course.
Why don't you give me a might roll here? But
yeah.
Take a -1 disadvantage because Garth has decided to take you seriously now.
Oh, if I had the strain to spend on some psychic abilities right now.
On the one hand, I wish I did, but I regret nothing about my previous strain spending choices.
I got 6. That's failure, yeah.
That's unfortunate.
think-
Unless you have some strain.
I think I will use my last strain.
Cool. So that's
It's an extra 2, so 8.
8. Okay, good. So for 8, you only take 5 points of damage, but you get to do your damage in return.
And I subtract my armor points.
That is correct.
Again, so it's 4 damage.
Okay. And you can take you can do your damage.
Does anyone mind if I clear the board so I clear off all the dice we have there, just so it doesn't clutter, so it's easier to see what's going on?
Sure. I roll 6.
Ouch. All right. Garth, yeah, so it's one of those things where you both almost impale each other. Garth staggers back, bleeding pretty heavily, and he's like, yeah, time to execute the escape clause, and hits the emergency switch on his grab belt and flies up into the air. Yeah. Harp, what are you doing?
I think I'm going to try again to take a shot at Alice.
Cool. Yeah, so she realizes she's got to find better cover before she can execute her escape plan. So you definitely get one shot at her as she pops out from cover and heads towards, tries to get behind a building.
I got a 7.
7 is good. So you can either do your damage and she'll probably get away, or you can pin her with your rifle and basically demand her surrender. Your choice.
I'll go with the pin.
Cool. All right, so you take a beat on you wait and get a good beat on her, and you shout out as she's about to cross over into space, and she looks around and realizes that she's dead to rights. You'll take her out with a headshot as she tries to get away. So she just throws up her arms, says, "Fine. I guess you caught me."
Just drop the weapons and walk away.
Call off the bear!
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, Korish is still struggling out of that rubble pile. Yeah, so she comes stalking down. Just like, you know that when Garth comes back, he's gonna kill you guys, right?
Yeah, but is he getting paid to kill us? Because we're not getting paid to kill you. Why are we even doing this?
Because it was easier to follow you guys, and clearly you're gonna blow the entire score. So
She's back there. Go get her. Good luck.
Have fun!
So what do you want to do?
Look, just we go our separate ways. You go ahead, and if you want to try and talk her into leaving this place or force her into leaving this place, you go right ahead. Not going to go well. We just want to get out of here. Fair?
Fair enough.
You guys still have a chance of getting paid? We probably won't get paid.
You let me go now. I'll take me and Koresh, and I'll talk Garth into finding some other job.
I'm good with it. You guys good with it?
Fantastic!
Excellent. We're good with it.
All right. So she walks over and picks up her rifle and slings it, and then turns on her grav belt, and then turns back to you guys and just says, "You're sure that your spaceship will take off if you don't have the colonel on it, right?" and then flies up into the air.
Are we sure of that? I mean, we've got something from the colonel, right? It's good enough, right?
I mean, they did provide us the spaceship.
I mean, does
There's
that
no
thing
point
have
worrying about it
biometric
right now.
scanners?
Let's get there and it might. But I mean, unless we want to run back and find her now.
Well, she gave us that communique. There's probably like some residue or something that'll pass.
Okay. That seems, yeah. I don't want to go back there, especially since we just sent them that way.
Yeah.
Our chances are better if the ship's rigged to blow. If we try to do something without them, well, it's still a better death than frickin' Spider Bear.
I agree. Much more instant, much less painful.
Yeah, but on the other hand, of course, she eats you, you'll live on in a way.
Yeah, I'm not. My spiritual leanings don't lean that way.
Seems fair. Okay, I think we need to get one more roll from Harp to get you back, but yeah, I think this is great again because you guys are just gonna muscle your way through this. It's just you got to keep going. So
I'm going to take a moment to do some patching on our fearless leader so he doesn't bleed out on the way there.
This is fair. If you have a use of med kit, you can take that, or rather, you can heal 1d6 right away. That's your special power. I don't think you need a roll for that. You just can do that.
Oh, that wasn't my roll.
Oh, okay.
That was
I'm sorry. You're right.
Oh, his navigation is fantastic. That's a great roll. And
oh, yeah.
I'm spending a point of med kit to get 2d6 worth of healing for fearless leader.
Okay.
And so that's 5 points for him. So he's
better off. Okay. So you get back to the ship at evening and climb up to the 5th floor. The fuel loss is... You got enough to take off and jump, at least right now. But it's going to be tight. You're going to run very lean. Cool. So you get on the ship. Everything's fine. This is fine. This is great.
It's fine. It's great. We're going to take off. We get out of here. Get paid.
Is there a way to check and see ahead of time if there's likely to be any weird, biometric switches or anything that are going to be a problem?
Well, you don't have tech, do you?
There you go. I do not.
Okay, then.
Nobody does.
No, nobody does. You are a pilot. You have JOT. So if you want to take a wit roll here, but take it at -1.
Oh, good.
as the pilot does their startup thing, Skip goes back to their bunk, pulls out their flask of whatever, something mostly potable and very alcoholic, pours himself a shot into the little pop-off thing, offers the flask towards Harp.
Yes. Please.
Hands it over.
I pour some on my bleeding arm.
7.
You rolled a 7.
Yes, but -1 and my wit is 0, so it's actually a 6.
Good.
Did we get a rest in there at all?
So there's nothing that prevents you from taking off. You can totally do that.
Awesome. Yeah.
So do you?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you're in the air for a couple minutes when the hyperwave radio clicks on, and Tyla is there like, "Hey, great news, guys! You've triggered your I see you're on your return course, which triggered the automatic beacon. So all I need is proof of life of Liara. Can I see the Colonel, please?"
Quick question. Did we get a short rest in there at all? And does that reset any strain?
If you want to take the rest, you can. I'll advance the clock.
Would that have reset strain?
Yes, that resets strain.
Okay.
Okay. Would it also have? Does that do anything to hit points?
If you have unspent strain, you get 1d6 per unspent strain back.
Cool. I would like to do that. So I'm down to 4 hit points.
Since we've seen her, I'd like to use my psychic abilities to, if possible, project some kind of image of the Colonel.
That seems very difficult, but broadly within the range of your capabilities. So, so this is like an actual metamorphic power, huh? Because if you're using telepathy, that may be difficult over several light years. Unless it's one of those things where your brain can just accept that if you can see her face, she's in the room. And that's just how psychic powers work. I'm asking for clarification.
I'm going to try and project it into her mind. Also trying to take advantage of the fact that FTL communication, which I think we're currently using, is unreliable.
Okay.
So, I'll give a rough projection that's, getting a lot of, we're going through a tunnel. You're breaking up.
That sounds good. But you're definitely taking a -1 on this, and it's wit.
All right. So my wit is +1, so it evens out flat. All right. 2d6. God. I try to do it and my brain starts to bleed or something.
Yeah. Well, what happens is you realize that she's must have some kind of psionic headset on that's blocking your transmissions. And she looks on her desk because a little light goes off and says, "Oh, Harp. Oh, Harp. That's so cute. You thought I didn't have a countermeasure for that."
I just pass out.
Given that you guys tried that trick, I'm going to assume you don't have the Colonel, and so have decided to betray me.
I believe I believe the term is failure to complete contract due to unwillingness of target.
That's fair.
You did not pay for unwilling extraction. That's extra.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fair. So if you're going to unilaterally cancel our contract, I'm afraid I'm going to have to trigger the penalty clause. And Kay, what you notice is that every sensor on the ship suddenly turns on and is screaming in active mode, basically painting every missile system in the area. I think when we recover your flight recorder, we're going to get a lot of interesting information on the maneuverability and countermeasures of this craft. I would say I would enjoy working with you all again, but probably I won't. So,
the Colonel is going to be extremely displeased because she is currently contracted us to deliver a message. And I hold up and send the verified signet scan across.
I'm sure our insurance payments will cover the penalty clause we'll pay to the Imperial Royal family.
Well, fuck you too, man. Good night.
You all have a nice day now. Click. Yeah. So what are you going to do there, Kay?
That is an excellent question. Okay, so
You still have control of the ship. She didn't like disable your control. She's just
okay.
because they want to make it. They want to make it look like you were taken out by enemy fire.
Okay, cool. So these corporations have obviously some sort of, they have their own facilities on this planet. Do we know where those are?
That sounds like a wit roll for you to make.
Great. 7.
Cool. So Omnicorp doesn't have their own, but they share hangar space with one of the non-combatants. That is not particularly far away, but you're already getting sensor pings from missile locks.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't suppose we're far enough out to punch it quite yet.
Nah, you're not even out of the planetary atmosphere at this point. You're just taking off.
I don't really want to do this to non-combatants, but I'm going to assume that they have some kind of safeguard that missiles are not going to hit their hangars. So yeah, I'm going to fly for their facilities.
Okay. Yeah, this is straight up grit. You got to keep your cool and use all your piloting skill. Yeah, you're a very good pilot, so I'm sure that this will go swimmingly and everybody will be happy and you'll have cake after. Did you roll a 5?
I did. I rolled a 5. Yes, I would love to spend strain.
I take my shot. I pull Harp up off the floor and help them wake up and just hand them the whole rest of the flask again.
Oh. Ow.
Yeah, you may want it.
I think that's got to be one of those wonderful moments where you're getting up and you pour him the drink just at the moment that Kay hits the afterburners, so you guys all get knocked to the back of the room. So
okay, cool. With strain, that is now a 10 because I have a 1 in grit.
Ah, cool. So 10 is good. A 10 means that you don't get hit by missiles, and they do break off when they get the IFF from the hangar. And you are able to come in, but you come in very hot. So you just sort of impact the runway and do a friction landing. At which point you can hear the fuel tank just rupture.
Yeah.
So
great.
but you're all safe. It's a perfect 17-point landing. You use just about every surface projected from the ship to slow your way.
Is that the number of penalty points on her Imperial pilot's license?
Almost certainly. But you come to a rest at the end of the emergency runway, and crews are already running out. Like at first, you popped open the airlock, and their first thing is like, "Hey, wow, cool ship! Too bad you totaled it, but great job, guys."
Yeah, it's not that great. I wouldn't trust it.
Yeah.
No, don't tell them that. Don't tell them that. They can have it. I'll
tell you what.
In fact, this is. Okay.
Here's a question. I know there's a guild hostel around here somewhere, because even the major wouldn't bother coming to World so benighted that the Rovers Guild doesn't have a presence.
This is fair, and their hostels are considered inviolate.
I have this, and pull out my shiny Rovers Guild lifetime membership card. I will meet you all at, I name a convenient not at war world. If you're not there in 6 months, I'll spend your share drinking very heavily in your memory.
That seems fair, but of course, the mission does need to be completed for you to collect your pay from the colonel. Since,
Exactly. But that's the thing about the guild hostels, it also includes passage off-world.
It does indeed include passage off-world. So your plan is to use your guild membership to get to that planet?
Or at least to get off-world and get somewhere where I can spend my credit to buy passage on a fast ship heading the direction I want, yes.
That sounds fair. I think if you're going to want to get a ship quick enough to get off this planet and fulfill the contract, you're going to need to make a wit roll.
All right. And let us make a wit roll. And since strain has reset, I am going to go ahead and spend a point of that right now just to make everything nice and clear.
Damn.
Nailed it.
Yeah, so one of the Centrax Corp pilots is like, yeah, you can hitch a ride with me. I'm headed that way, but it's not going to be a comfortable ride, but, you know. And you pull in a storm, right?
I was Imperial Medic. No one's shooting at me. It's great.
Yeah, nobody's going to be shooting at us. Once we get out of airspace, we'll be fine. So what are the rest of you guys going to do?
Oops. Maybe do they have like a small crappy ship we could buy off them and like sell them this, you know, slightly mildly damaged but awesome ship
that you don't have title to and is clearly owned by some megacorp?
Yeah, like, you know, it's worth a shot.
I mean, at this point, we could sell it for salvage.
That sounds like the
Yeah.
sort of thing that somebody needs to find a contact real quick, and then somebody needs to talk them into doing that. So
Unfortunately, I do not have contact or connection.
who's going to find the buyer, and then who's going to talk to them?
Where are we right now?
You're in a Centrax Corp hangar. It's shared space for OmniCorp.
Maybe I walk around until I find someone who looks like they have money.
Cool. Okay, let's call that wit. You have a pretty good smell for money, but take -1 on this roll because, you know, you're kind of in a war zone. So, on the other hand, if you find somebody, they're almost certainly a war profiteer and probably very interested in under the table dealings.
It's a 3.
A 3. Do you want to spend it with your wit? It's a 5.
Right.
Do you want to spend strain?
Sure, I'll spend this strain.
Okay. Let's see that die.
Seven.
Cool. Okay. So there's a cantina because there's always an empire and there's always a cantina. And you run into he's actually an alien. Well, they're actually an alien. they're a species you've met before. They're known to be strong evangelists for the propagation of technology across the universe, by which they conduct a lot of corporate espionage. So you make the approach to them, and he's like, they're like, so you're the one that came in that ship, the XF-17. Omnicorp design, I do believe.
Yes, you'd be correct in believing that. It's got quite an interesting design.
Certainly has enough spare parts to repair several hyperdrives. I might be willing to take that off your hands.
I don't know. It's quite dear to me. You know, I have a lot of memories.
I see.
You'd have to give me a pretty good offer, I think.
On the other hand, you almost certainly do not have the legal ability to sell it. So I think we find ourselves in a place where our bargaining positions match one another. Yes.
Legality is such a fluid term. I'm not sure that it would be illegal for me to sell this. But
Point of order. They're assuming this is destroyed. They've probably already written it off.
Yeah, they think it was blown up.
they want it for scrap. I don't.
And no, the
Legality
corporation thinks it's
the corporation thinks it's
it was blown up.
Okay.
They're not going to be looking for it.
Yeah, so I whisper that whole scrap thing in his ear.
Right. Okay. I turn back to them. I say, I'm pretty much 100% certain that Omnicorp aren't going to be looking for this at all. So there's no risk to buying it. No health hazards.
We live in dangerous times. There's always a health hazard of 3. You are looking for passage off-world, is what I assume?
Yeah, it's certainly on the agenda.
As it happens, I have a freighter headed outworld. Its destination is flexible. You wouldn't mind riding in a pod, however.
What a pod is it?
How big a pod is the question?
We are a biometro. Our ships are bioengineered, so you'll be quite comfortable and have all your life support needs taken care of. Once you get over the sensation of drowning as we put you inside the pod.
I've done that. It's not that bad. They talk it up like it's terrible, but it's not that bad.
I'm just gonna ask everyone if they're willing to put up with that. Clearly, Harp is fine with it. Anyone have any objections?
Drowning does not sound good, but it does sound better than being shot. So yeah, okay.
Fantastic. Why don't you make a wit roll, with, you can take your manipulate, just to see if there's any unforeseen terms in this contract.
$10.
Okay. So it all checks out. It's pretty straightforward. You give the destination as the planet that you were supposed to go to talk to the Colonel's people. And a few hours later, you guys are bundled up into a pot of mucus and fired out system. Cool. So we have a little time left. I know Ben has to leave early, so we're going to wrap up by 1:30, but the first question is, so do you guys, in fact, send Colonel Malix's message out?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Second question, is there a race between you guys, or are you just going to assume, are you still, or is there still honor between Rovers here?
Like I'd cut Jasper out in a heartbeat, but the rest of them, the rest
Okay.
of them aren't part of the cancer wrong with this system.
Excellent. So,
And cutting Jasper out without cutting them out would just be completely awkward and probably end up bloody and just
And
messy. So it's easier to pay him.
cool. So the good news is you're going to get paid. And even better, Kay, you're hired as a pilot, and they say they want to hire your entire crew since they're quite skilled, and they want to hire you to for a simple protection run to another planet.
Sure.
This is a reputable.
It's more complicated than it sounds.
Great, great. So you guys jump over to that system, and it's a pretty easy trip. And you're walking back to the hangar, and I think we'll have Harp make this wit roll.
Oh, no. This can't end well.
No.
Of course not. We're Rovers. It never ends well.
What is this a wit roll for? Just to find out what goes on, or is it something where my psychic ability would be useful?
Well, your psychic ability could help.
You could
All right.
pay for precog flashes on this.
All right, so I'm going to give this +2 psychic. And that's the green dice. 4 + 2. I don't know why I didn't add that. So 7.
7. Cool. Cool. So yeah, as you enter the hangar, you get a flash that people are there. So you stop everybody, which means that when they come out of the shadows, they don't just take you guys unaware. So you probably all pull your weapons, and they have weapons out and like restraints, and so they are wearing nondescript black uniforms, and one steps forward and says, well, we wanted to guarantee that you would come with us, but I suppose if you're aware of our presence, we can simply ask and avoid the need for a violent confrontation.
I'm assuming this is one of those elite squads.
Sure seems that way.
Oh, good. I always wanted to get a chance to lose my cool to the Empress's face.
What was that you said?
Nothing.
Shall we all put our toys away and speak like civilized men, women, and persons?
I reverse my weapon and offer it over to them because I have no. I'm not going to pretend this is going any other way.
No, yeah.
Very good. I wish for you to speak to our commander. So they take you back on board your own ship, which is great.
Great.
And sitting at the table wearing a uniform with absolutely no insignia is an attractive woman in her mid-30s who you recognize from coins. Which one of you was it that decided not to take Liara off-world? I just want to know for...
That would be her.
Were you not hired to convince her?
No.
No. We were hired for a friendly retrieval contract.
You know, I like Rovers. I like the books about you. They're always so much fun. You live such colorful lives. But you know, the thing about those books is you always end up somehow making the mission happen. And here, you made a completely different mission happen. And now I've got an entire battalion of mercenary troops bogged down in an intercorporate war. And sooner or later, I'm going to have to intervene. And Omnicorp is yelling at me. And there's some bizarre insurance claim I have on a ship. What I want to know is whether or not you folks can explain this in a way that doesn't make me just get at the disintegration chambers. Surely one of you had some reason. Idealism? Were you paid more? Because you guys weren't. You're not paid more.
I tried to get them to change their minds.
They had more guns than we did.
Interesting. So you guys exercised your judgment against your own monetary interests.
Well, I'm all about monetary interest. I was outnumbered by everyone else in the room.
Well, that never stopped Garth and Alice.
Well, yeah, they knew to run when they were dead. You see, you could offer me all your shares in Omnicorp, but it wouldn't mean anything because then you'd kill me and I'd be dead, and I can't do anything with it. So I took the money. Oh, go ahead.
Also, they had an 8-armed bear.
Oh my god, you guys met Korash? That's amazing.
That's not fair.
Did he cook for you? Because I've heard he's a great cook.
No, he tried to kill us twice.
Okay, he was going to cook with you. Good.
Yeah. You can see we were vastly outnumbered on all this.
If you hadn't been outnumbered and Liara had told you that she was going to stay, what would you have done?
Well,
we certainly would have had a better chance of it.
Right, but
so is it Your Majesty or Your Highness? What's the appropriate address? So I'm
Your Majesty.
Your Majesty. Corman Skip. I give my serial number, requesting permission to speak frankly.
Oh, honey. Given that these could possibly be your last words, I think you can say whatever you want to say.
You sent a dandy, a scout, an excellent pilot, and a medic. If you wanted a retrieval, you needed 3 more people with large guns and and significantly more credits than we were offered. Then we would have gone in and gotten them out. We were sent in on the instructions that we were a rescue to help them out of a sticky situation quietly. When we came to that escorting out phase, the escortee informed us they did not wish to be escorted and had many more guns than us in the room.
Knowing Liara as I know her, if you had come with more people, she would have resisted. So again, my question is, if the circumstances had been more to your advantage, would you have tried to capture her and pull her off world, or what would you have done when she said, I don't want to come?
If that had been the contract, yes.
I'm sorry, you were saying something, Kay?
We're not kidnappers. That's not what. If if you wanted someone to capture her, you wouldn't have hired us.
Well, point of fact, I didn't. I hired Omnicorp, and they hired you.
True.
But
They
That
wouldn't
sounds like
have
a
hired
staffing
us.
problem, ma'am.
you have no idea, my boy. You have no idea. What about you, Mr. Nilsson? What would you have done?
Do you know she's psychic?
Do you know if she's psychic?
Do you know she's psychic?
Well, I know you're psychic.
Yeah. And if the
I generally have
conditions
a
had
pretty good sense of people who are psychic around me.
and if the conditions had favored it, I would have tried to psychically convince her to change her mind. But that wasn't possible. I took a look, and she knew I took a look. Wasn't going to happen.
So you respect...
Just
Mhm.
in general, that lady's got a lot more willpower than I think we all expected. There was honestly no way we were going to convince her to change her mind, psychically or not. It just wasn't going to happen. It was either by force or not at all. And we didn't have the force.
So idealism played no factor in this?
Idealism? No. We want to get paid. We also want to stay alive. You got to weigh one versus the other. That's what we did.
Well, I'd hoped there'd been some little idealism. I mean, Kay seems to have that, but fair enough.
Come on, this empire doesn't have idealism. It's just one company fighting another company, making a deal with another company, to fight another company. That's all this empire is.
And you find that to be an adequate state of affairs?
No, but I also don't find myself in a position to change it.
And what if you were, Mr. Nilsson? And what if you were?
Then maybe I'd have been able to do something about it. This time around, it wasn't possible.
Mr. Fulcrum, you were saying?
I just don't really see what the problem is. People put in the work and they get results and they come out on top. And then they can push around people who aren't on top. Because they didn't put in the work, you see? I've worked hard to get to where I am.
Oh, he's so cute when he says stuff like that.
So let's see. I have naked ambition, idealism, pragmatism, and whatever Skip is. I'm not quite sure. I think righteous anger, would that be a good definition for you, Skip?
It's a complicated brew, bit of righteous anger, bit of pragmatism, bit one tour's worth of elite combat medic, and stir vigorously.
Rationality, I think, is the word you're looking for.
Fair enough. Gentlemen, ma'am, Skip, I don't like the way the Empire is going. I think its collapse would be a tragedy for billions of people. But I'm constrained by what I can do. I'm just Vicky at the end of the day. I live in a palace and I have unbelievable forces at my command, but they're so far away. But I could use people on the ground who have some idea of what they're doing. So I'm just going to leave a contract here. You can look it over. If you choose to accept the job, just sign your names. If you don't, I would threaten you, but there's no point. You'll probably find a way to destroy yourselves sooner or later. and we'll just keep a little eye on you. This has been such a fascinating conversation. I look forward to reading the vid novel based on your adventures.
Question.
Yes, Skip.
Can I sign with the request to not be assigned with certain members of this fine band?
Don't even
Or is
bother.
it-
I'm not signing.
Oh, fantastic.
I've heard the pitch. I'm not interested in buying. I hope we'll meet again under a better situation, under better circumstances. I'm gonna respectfully bow out.
Oh, that
All right,
makes
Mr.
things
Fulcrum.
easier.
I figure I'll either see you at the head of your own corporation on trial for treason, or, well, if you're ambitious enough, look me up. Still single. Ciao, everyone. And with that, she leaves. And I guess Jasper can go and find his own way. And
Skip
Yeah.
signing on, because what the hell?
Sure. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm in.
Can't be any worse than his usual gigs.
Yeah.
yeah,
Maybe he can make a difference.
definitely
got-
working as unlicensed agents of the Imperial Throne
Yes.
is going to be easy. Fantastic. I think that
He got a
could be-
lifetime's worth in getting to mouth off to the Empress.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, they don't. The job doesn't pay well, but you get to talk
The
back.
perks
to
are amazing.
Cool. Yeah. So you guys would all collect 8 credits, I guess, and split that between you. And I guess that's the session. I hope you enjoyed Rovers. It's been a little while
Absolutely.
since I took this one out of the hangar, so it was kind of fun to do that again.
Absolutely.
That was a lot of fun. Curtis, I hope there are no hard feelings. Your character was just too much fun to play against.
Great. And it was great to see all of you, and especially good to see Bethany at the table again. That's always a good time for
It's
me.
good to be back.
There's
And
gonna be
also,
Hmm?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, there's gonna be more Kingsport coming at some point. I have to put the
Alrighty.
things up.
Cool. Hopefully, I'll see it soon enough to sign on this time. And also, yes, thank you for the opportunity to both blow up a power plant and destroy a ship in one session. Because that's
I figure you guys are freebooting ethically challenged merchants, so you should definitely get a chance to do some property damage.
Yes.
Yep.
All right.
Kay is a pilot after my own heart.
Fantastic. So I hope you guys all have a great rest of the con. I don't know. I'm playing Lovecraft Desk and then running Night Witches tomorrow, which I also have not done in forever, so that will be fun.
Good time.
So I'm going to click the broadcast off and wish you all an excellent rest of the day.
yeah.
To you as well.
All right.
Bye.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.